Welcome to the Happiness Workshop. I'm Mike.
Oh, and I'm Neal.
And today I'm actually going to not be me, but I'm going to be an interviewer instead. And I'm going to interview Neal about his People's Choice Award thing that he just won. So just pretend you don't know me at all, okay?
Do I have to be myself?
You have to be you, but I don't have to be me today, okay? So, Mr. Havener, recently you won a People's Choice Award for the Dragonlore Trilogy. Could you maybe tell our viewers out there a little bit about that?
The Dragonlore Trilogy! It's the most fantastic movie you'll ever see in your life, ever!
Now, when you wrote all these fabulous movies before that Hollywood has produced, I would like to know, what was the revenue source for all of that? How did that turn out for you?
Oh, well, as you know, Mike, I'm living here in
Wait,
probably...
I'm not Mike.
What is your name?
You just call me Mr. Interviewer.
Mr. Interviewer. Why, as you see, I'm living in the lap of luxury here in beautiful Columbus, Ohio, which is, I think, the best city in all the world. I live here in a house made of gold. It's awesomeness. I'm a billionaire many times over.
Okay, now, with the opportunity to pitch this movie or whatever, obviously Hollywood starlets have been pouring out of the scenery and people are knocking on your... I've been here 5 minutes, there's been 20 women coming to the door already, trying to get parts for this movie. You know, how are you handling that kind of fame right now?
Well, it's difficult. Very difficult, Mr. Interviewer. I mean, part of me wants to... this is a... Starlets everywhere! No, I wasn't gonna go there. Part of me wants to give each and every one of these young actresses a part, a leading role. I want to make everyone's dream come true because, as you know, perhaps, Mr. Interviewer, there's another guy named Mike, and Mike and I have this thing called the Happiness Workshop. And the important thing about the Happiness Workshop is we want to bring happiness to each and every one of you. Everyone in the world, we want to be happy. We want them to be joyous. So when these beautiful starlets come to my house, of course, I want to make them rich and famous, and I want all their dreams to come true. And yet, even though I'm a billionaire, gold-plated writer, as it were, I'm not the casting director. And, in Hollywood, the writer, sure, I make billions of dollars for each of my many scripts, but I don't have that much choice options in the casting.
Now, I'd like to ask you about your past roles in great movies, and my question for you is, are you drawing on any of that for inspiration when you're writing out the Dragonlore Trilogy? For instance, I think you were the realtor in the Bedford Road Horror, and I think your life actually ended by being darted to death. Somebody threw darts at you.
Yes, the Bedford Road Horror, as of course many of you know, was one of the top grossing films of the 70s.
1978, I believe. Is what
that was, of course I'm a robot, so I don't actually age. It was quite a gruesome movie. It was a horror movie, and there was that dart. It got me in the eye. I actually was nominated for an Oscar for my death scene. In fact, can we show that?
I can show that, sure. I'll edit it in, right here.
It's incredibly realistic.
It's slow motion, too, if I remember correctly, because we sped the camera up so you would move slower.
Yes. Anyway, it's an amazing, performance, for which there's a time to be humble and a time just to be honest, and I think I really did deserve the Oscar nom, although I was denied the win. Because
was there an irony in your death in that movie because your father was an ophthalmologist and that you were actually darted in the eye and died that way? Was there any kind of father-son issue going on there at all?
It's like an onion. The layers of symbolism are amazing. And in fact, the interesting thing about my performance, you just showed this, I see.
Yes, of course, sure.
And the crazy thing is, a lot of you are probably thinking, what horrible overacting. But no, because I was trying to show someone overacting. I wasn't really being a bad actor on purpose, and that's one of the many subtle layers there. I was brilliant then, just as I am brilliant now. Look.
Very good. Now, not only were you fantastic in that movie, there was also another movie that you started called, I think it was called The Drug Movie, shot at the Sumner household many years ago, where you were depicted as a guy that was like a tough guy. and there was some poor schlo there that was playing cards and losing money, and you and I believe it was Sergeant Major David Fox biting nails and pulling guns.
Yes, true.
Did you draw on any of that for the writing of the Dragonlore Trilogy?
Yes, Mr. Interviewer, you may not know this interesting fact, but actually my friend Mike from the Happiness Workshop actually played the lead in that part. Sort
the
of
schmo.
Yeah, the schmo, sort of a Chaplin-esque character, you know, a fish out of water. And I, of course, was typecast as a terrifying hoodlum. I had quite the reputation of being a tough guy. People where I grew up in school, even from elementary school all through junior high and high school, they would literally just run. The hallways would clear when I walked down the hall because I'm a quite intimidating fellow. Sergeant Dave Fox will confirm that for us.
Yes.
I'm sure he'd be happy to note how macho and manly I am and always have been.
Yeah, you know, and there's a little bit of a Peter Fonda-esque-ness to it there from
the hair.
Yeah, the hair, the glasses, you know, the '70s look. And now here, okay,
Thank you.
Your latest work that Hollywood has been raving about. I mean, TMZ was packing out on the front porch the other day trying to get in here. The Attack of the Killer Doll Babies Part 2.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, such acting. You know, there was that scene where the baby doll chewed off your arm, and you were, I mean, I so bought it that I think my own arm began to bleed in the theater when I watched it because it was so realistic.
We should warn anyone watching that this is quite graphic, so please, parents, make sure that you supervise your children as they may have nightmares afterwards. I actually had some trepidation in accepting this role because, as you know, The Attack of the Killer Doll Babies Part 1 is a classic in its own right. And if you have a brilliant, it's like if you've got Citizen Kane,
right.
You've got you know, the Maltese Falcon, you've got you know, Attack of the Killer Doll Babies. I mean, you really don't want to mess with success like that. It's such an iconic classic, and yet I found the script written by my friend Mike from the Happiness Workshop. It was so compelling. It was so reflective of the human condition and our day-to-day struggles that I felt, okay, we can revisit this, and I'm pleased to say that the results were
phenomenal.
Phenomenal. That's just the word I was looking for.
Now the thing is, you managed to keep your character. Your accent was spot on. I mean, everything through that horrid scene, you know. And there was you know, all kinds of, you know, regurgitation going on in the background. There was blood. There was gore. You know, how do you write a children's story like the Dragonlore Trilogy now after being so steeped in blood and gore and the violence, I guess one would say, of the Attack of the Killer Doll Babies Part 2?
Children's story?
Isn't Dragonlore Trilogy supposed to be for children?
Oh, it's well, in a way we're all children, but I was thinking more like Taxi Driver.
Oh.
Did my pitch not reflect that?
Well, I don't know. Let's see.
Hello, I'm Neal. I'm from Ohio, and 3 is the magic number. Okay? There are 3 things you need to know. The first is the title of the movie. It's called The Dragonlore Trilogy, but it's only one movie, The Dragonlore Trilogy. 2, you need to have a framework to understand the movie, and the framework is that it's an action comedy. You've got to think Galaxy Quest meets Lord of the Rings. I hate to pitch it that way, but there you have it. That's what it is. It's Galaxy Quest meets Lord of the Rings. Fantastic, okay? 3rd is the premise, okay? The story is this. The Dragonlore Trilogy is 3 novels, and they are the most beloved, the best-selling, the most action-packed, romantic fantasy novels of all time. And Hollywood is finally going to make a movie of this trilogy. And the cool thing is, they're doing an open casting call for the lead role. So fanboys and fangirls across the world are going nuts. Now, one of these fanboys is a complete Dragonlore geek. His name is Ryan, and he knows he's going to get the part. So what does he do? He dresses up in all his gear. He's got the Dragonlord sword. He's ready to go, but he needs somebody to videotape it. So he gets his best friend Sam to do it. Sam hates fantasy stuff, but he videotapes it anyway. The 4th, he hits a stick, hits a tree, Ryan does, with a sword. A branch breaks from above, it comes hurtling down and hits Sam on the head. Sam is knocked unconscious. When Sam wakes up, he is in the land of Erkendor. He doesn't buy into any of this crap, but there you have it. He's stuck there, and he reluctantly must become a hero, a comic hero, to save the land of Urkendor from the forces of evil.
You know, I might have made a slight misstep there.
It seemed like it was for
Small.
kids. It seemed like it was something you're,
crazy.
going to do for children
That's
or whatever. But I guess I could see blood and
crazy.
gore in that if you had to find
I
a
don't
way.
know. I don't know.
Well, we've enjoyed this conversation here with our writer friend, Mr. Neal Havener, who has recently won the People's Choice Award for the Best Movie Pitch. We wish you the best of luck in Hollywood as you go out there this November and pitch the heck out of that movie and all the other ones that you've made, and hopefully it'll be as successful as all these other movies you've been starring in. Excellent.
Excellent.
In the meantime, folks,
Be happy. Yes, all of you.
May
Have
all your
joy.
dreams come true, and we're Mike and Neal from the Happiness Workshop.
Rock on.